Hello everyone, how you doing? Got to get my twist together here, but how you all doing this morning? Um, you know, I came across another article because I tend to read a lot, and this article was about this lady. She's accusing Wilt Chamberlain of sexual assault, saying that he forced her, into oral sex. Now, my question is, why would you go up to a man's bedroom or his closet to see jerseys, his collection of jerseys? If he can't bring the jerseys downstairs, excuse me, y'all, if he can't bring the jerseys downstairs, then why would you go upstairs in a man's house? And she said that he was her friend, that they were friends. So she trusted him apparently to go, to look at his collection of jerseys. But I still say that we as women have to make better decisions. I think it's our decision making, and not every woman, but there are a lot of women that have bad decision making, even when they were younger. And when I was younger, I didn't make decisions like that. I just didn't I tried not to put myself in situations that would, put myself at risk. And so when someone is inviting me up to their bedroom and we're just friends and we're nothing more than that, I don't ever want to put myself in a situation to send the wrong message. And it's like these women, it's like some of them put themselves in a situation, they put themselves at risk, they didn't make a good decision. They didn't think about, well, we're friends, but he's still a man. I'm still a woman. Let me not put myself in a situation that I don't have a way of getting out of. And she's saying how she was a showgirl, which most of you know what a showgirl is. And she was out of work and she was at a party. When you broke and you have no money and you going to these parties, why go to a party broke? I don't understand that. How many people go to parties broke? And she said she went to this party. She was an out of work showgirl and so he forced it on her. Now, this was many years ago. And she's coming out now saying that the Me Too movement is what helped her come forward. And so these women are using the Me Too movement, and all it's doing is getting the Me Too movement more traction, maybe more donations and funding. And the people that's in leadership and the Me Too movement, they're just getting richer off of these stories. They're capitalizing off of traumatic situations. And if this woman is telling the truth, and I would say allegedly, because I don't know, I wasn't there. And Wilt Chamberlain is not here to defend himself. But if they're using the Me Too movement, it's like the Me Too movement is capitalizing off of these stories. And where are they helping these women? Holding them accountable, helping younger women or women that hasn't been there yet, but helping them, giving education, tools, and resources not to make these type of choices and decisions, helping them to make better decisions and better choices, empowering them so that they're not caught up in situations and years later they're coming out now saying this was what happened to them. I don't believe I've heard anything about someone saying the Me Too movement helped them pay for their therapy from what they experienced. But you have got to be a thinkless person to believe that you have to wait for an organization to tell you to file a police report if you was actually sexual assaulted. Now, I'm actually working on, while I'm talking to you, working on some of my jewelry pieces. And this is one of the bracelets actually that I'm making right now. And it has a matching necklace already to it. While I'm taking a break, while I'm talking to you all, I'm working on my pieces that I create jewelry. I design jewelry, and that one's actually someone's going to buy that, and then excuse me for a second here. Sorry, give me a moment. Oh. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Excuse me. I didn't mean to be away from the camera, but one of the earrings failed. When this is one of the earrings right here with the matching necklace, or this is another earring right here. So I create jewelry. If you all been following me for some time, I don't advertise it a lot because I tend to. I had to kind of put it aside while I was doing my studies, and now I have a lot more time to do some other things, and so this is important to me. I do have a business. It's called Shireen Jewelry. So I have a business and I create jewelry. So if you're interested in any of my pieces, I'm probably going to be putting a video together, just so you know, a video together to showcase my pieces. And then if you want to order something, you can Cash App me. I think that's the best way. Cash App or PayPal. Shipping is $4, and Cash App, PayPal if you live out of state. If it's local, yeah, I will, make sure you get it, deliver it to you. But if it's out of state, then you can Cash Out me, or PayPal me. It's $4 shipping, and my jewelry, range anywhere from $5 on up to anywhere. It depends on what the material is, and everything like that. But $5 and up, okay? So if you buy a set, it could be $45, it could be $50, it could be $30, it could be $25. It just really depends, or it could be, $18, $15. It just really depends, or except if you just want the bracelet, things like that. So again, $5 on up. But anyway, getting back to my story, I feel like you have to be a thinkless person in order for you to wait on some type of organization or movement, or a liberal feminine movement, to tell you to report when you were sexually assaulted. I don't agree with what's going on with a lot of these women, coming out years later saying that men sexually assaulted them, especially when they're not here to defend themselves. But I also believe in accountability. We as women, we do have to hold ourselves in high regard. We have to make better choices. And I'm not bashing these women, and I hope that no one is going to take it that way, that I'm bashing these women. But I also have to say that as a woman, we do need to hold ourselves accountable, and to a higher standard. We need to hold ourselves accountable. And women that are not holding themselves accountable, and they're promoting the Me Too movement, the Me Too movement is promoting believe all women. And I don't believe that they're promoting accountability. And that's where that's disturbing to me, because we do have to hold ourselves accountable. We need to promote accountability, responsibility, and we also need to promote making better choices. And so with that being said, I cannot really support any type of movement that's against people, and especially against men, where you're trying to take down every man and rich men, and you're going after specific people. That's bias, that's selfish, and it's also almost like a terrorist act or something. I may be wrong in saying that, but it's like you're going after specific men, so you have an agenda, a goal to hurt people, to harm people, and you're not even thinking about the people's children and their families and the legacy and and the history of these people are the men are gonna leave behind when you get your way in the judicial system, and you're infiltrating, the judicial system and infiltrating politicians to continue this movement. But I don't see where anybody in the Me Too movement, like Tarana Burke, is holding women accountable and teaching accountability. And that's important to me, is accountability. We have to teach accountability to everyone. And when we say that women are victims, I'm not talking about women that are chasing men, chasing celebrities, getting money, getting their nails, hair done. They're getting, surgical body enhancements. and doing all this and traveling, getting free tickets on tour bus. These women, I'm not saying they should be assaulted. So let me make sure I make that clear. But what I am saying is when you're participating in those things and you have parents pushing along, you have parents right along on the side of their daughters and getting money from the celebrities, and you're pushing this, you have some accountability with your daughters and the decisions that the future decisions they're gonna make. And then you want to come out later when your daughter didn't get the status that you thought she was going to get by knowing this celebrity and being involved and having sexual relations with the celebrity. Now you want to come out and testify and support your daughters, but yet still, I haven't heard anyone come out and say that my daughter made some poor decisions. Also, they participated in it. I also benefited from it. It helped me pay my bills, and I needed something, and it helped me. So when you have a liberal feminist movement out here, they still should be held to a higher standard when it comes to accountability. Because as a woman, if you are a real victim, it's nothing wrong with teaching you after you've been victimized, if you're a real victim, teaching you accountability and how to protect yourself in the future going forward. There is nothing wrong with that. And that's not victim shaming. That's not victim blaming. That's just being accountable to teach you how to protect yourselves in the future if it really happened to you and you are a real victim. Because we know some women can be naive and young and don't know, and they get caught up in situations because they're more trusting. But then there's these women out here that really, they decided that their fame and fortune and their position that they were seeking and pursuing, or their profession or craft, was more important than taking care of themselves and not putting themselves in a situation. And if they were victimized, as they're saying, allegedly, that they didn't say anything, they didn't speak out, they didn't go to the authorities because they wanted fame and fortune. They put that over their integrity. They put that over taking care of themselves, their emotional, mental health, and physical health. And emotional and mental health takes a very long time to recover from that. And sometimes some women never recover from that because they've been truly sexually assaulted. But when you can come out, and every woman that's claiming that they were sexually assaulted but didn't come out because they were pursuing their career, they didn't want to be blackballed or blacklisted, so they didn't come out, and now they're writing books. How is that going to help young women if you're not being accountable and all you can say is, well, I was an unknown model. I was an unemployed showgirl, and so I wanted, to pursue my career. And so now the Me Too movement has helped me to come out 20 and 30 and 40 years later. This woman is 70 years old that's claiming Wilt Chamberlain forced her into oral sex. 70 years old. That means that you knew something. You're 70 and now you're coming out now. You're saying women that are young, way younger than you, that's in the Me Too movement, the leaders that are, that are over it, they're way younger than you. And you're telling me that you wasn't smart enough at that time to go to the authorities if he did do that to you. Why? Because do you feel like you put yourself in that situation by going upstairs to this man's closet, to look at some jerseys? I mean, come on now. So all I'm saying is that we don't need a Me Too movement to tell us to go to the authorities when we have been truly sexually assaulted or victimized. We don't need a Me Too movement to tell us that. We already have the police department in place and the authorities that we need to go to. And whether this man was 7 feet or whatever he was, let me keep it real with you. If he forced you to do that, you could have bit really hard down. I'm just saying. I mean, some things, we are just not. I keep hearing it's like this damsel in distress when it comes to women. We are not damsels in distress. And we need to stop acting like we don't know any better, like we don't have any, we don't have a brain of our own. We have to be thinkful, not think less. Thinkful, not think less. We need to be able to make better decisions and choices and own up to when we make mistakes. And what part did you partake or participate in it that led you to that situation? We need to look at that also. not putting ourselves in situations. And also, when you were at that party, you mean to tell me no one questioned you going upstairs or wherever you were going to look at, no one missed you, no one questioned you, not a friend, not anyone? Did you go alone? That's another thing. If you're going to a party and there's going to be other men there, a bunch of men, why go to a party alone? You didn't say you went with someone else. So your friend didn't miss you. How come you didn't take your friend with you and say, hey, let's go look at Wilt Chamberlain jerseys together? That way, but you went alone saying this was your friend. But we have to remember, men are still going to be men. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be held accountable if they do something to violate someone, but men are still going to be men. And so we have to look at it from that perspective, especially if that man is not your husband, and that's a whole different story. If a husband is sexually assaulting their wife, that's a whole different subject matter and a whole different video if we need to talk about that. But what I'm saying is, if that's not your husband, whether you're friends or not, I had a lot of male friends. I still know a lot of male people. I was in the service. I grew up around brothers. I had brothers, and I was a tomboy. So I played sports. So I had male friends that were truly male friends. They were like my brother from another mother. But we had we had boundaries when it came down to it. They knew they weren't going to cross it, and I knew I wasn't going to cross it. We have to be able to have boundaries. Even if we have male friends, we have to have boundaries. One of the things about me, if a man wants to hug me, I don't hug like this. I give a side hug. I know that I have boundaries. And so there are things that we can teach young women, but instead of teaching them to be sexually assaulted, allegedly, come out 20, 30, 40 years later, and then want to write a book. These books are not helping anyone. You know what these books are doing? They're keeping people in a traumatic state of mind, a traumatic state of confusion. And we don't want confusion. See, God is not about confusion. He don't bless any mess. And so for these women that's coming out writing these books, they want to keep people in a state of confusion, traumatic situations, and to keep thinking, oh my God, all these men, and most of the men that's being accused, are black men. So what does that tell you? It's an assault on black men. And then you have the Me Too movement. They are just keeping it going also. And then you have even Tarana Burke wrote a book. And I was listening to something that someone had asked me to listen to because I don't like listening to her. I'm just going to tell the truth. And they was like, please listen. So I listened to her, and she was saying how she was talked about for her looks, and that the guy immediately told her that she was ugly. No, that she was out to get all men, all black men, assault on black men, and I'm paraphrasing it, and that she was ugly. So she wrote a book about how she had to go through this, how she felt and how she had to get past her looks and her experiences of all of that. And I don't even feel that I need to buy a book about that. I mean, it's not, all these books where women are writing books. And to me, they're not writing books to help young women. They're writing books to capitalize off. They're writing books to make money for them and to get royalties off every time someone buy their $4 book or $5 book or $10 book, they're getting little royalties, whatever it is, 50 cent, 10 cent, whatever it may be, but they get a signing deal or whatever they get from the beginning. But I think that we have to start really thinking about what we put in our minds and what we read. And don't be so quick to be curious about what these women are writing about, because to me, it's not worth it. Unless you're trying to help people and heal people, these books is just for them. It's not to help other females. It's for them. Personally, selfish for them to say they wrote a book. And I wonder how many people are credentialed, or that's saying they trying to help women. Where are their credentials at? And what type of secondary education do they have? Yeah, we can write about our experiences, but when you're talking about helping other people the right way, in a more excellent way, what type of credentials do these women have that are writing these books and saying, well, I just want to help other females. I just want to be an example. Well, what I've seen out here, nobody can be that example for me. I have to pray to God, and I have to be the example that I want to see. And, setting these examples. And it certainly isn't waiting 20, 30 years if I was sexually assaulted, or even 10 or 15, 5 years if I was sexually assaulted, and then saying I want to be an example, but yet and still I admit to the world, to the public, I would say, that I didn't report it and speak out because I wanted fame and fortune, or I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be famous today and be where I'm at today if I had spoke out, because I was an unknown model at the time, and or either I was a unemployed show woman, showgirl, as they called it back then. So I just think we have to be very careful about following certain people and entities and organizations. And it's just it's sad. But anyway, the book, the Bible study class, I don't have the book with me. But again, it's by Joyce Meyer, and it's Healing the Soul of a Woman. And I think we can get a good discussion going, whether you've been assaulted or not. But I think but we do have women from all walks of life, whether it was rape, molestation, physical assault, domestic violence, or you just want to learn something from this book on how to teach other people and to help other people, or you want to help yourself along the way if you even suffered any other traumatic experience, and how we as women have to hold ourselves accountable, and how we treat one another, and how we how we can even empower ourselves through Bible studies. We've been through a lot as women. We go through a lot. We've been through a lot. We've seen a lot. And if nothing has opened our eyes up, we should look at what has opened our eyes up in the last few years with this R. Kelly thing, and the women involved and the other people involved, and and just the pandemic and all this stuff, and confusion and the killings. I mean, we've been through a lot. So there is some emotional experiences, or if your child was murdered, and you got to heal from that, so I think it's going to be a good class. I'm looking forward to it. Again, it starts on October 24th at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, the book is Healing the Soul of a Woman, and it's by Joyce Myers. And so if you can get the book and read it, or read some of it, I know people have busy schedules, but read some of it, so we can get to talking. At least read the first 5 chapters if you can get there. They're not real long chapters, but to read them so that we can have an open discussion, and bring your Bible, any translation. But again, I'm prayerful that women will start making better decisions and hold themselves accountable. And let's stop for the people out here that's still talking about, RSK in a negative way, and all of those things. You know what? We need to stay prayerful for all involved. We need to stay prayerful that God will reconcile individuals back to Christ, and that we pray the will of God, because we do see a lot of the sin crisis that's going on in this world. So be prayerful, pray the will of God, always pray, and thank God each and every day that He woke you up. The blood is still running warm in your veins, and be hopeful. Always have hope in Jesus Christ. We got to get back to the basics. And men, hold yourselves up. Hold yourselves accountable. Get back in the right position that God placed you in from the beginning in the Garden of Eden. Women, you're going to be sharers of men, working together, not trying to harm each other. We got to get back to that place of love, natural love. God calls us to naturally love people. And you see, the natural love is no longer happening, and we need natural love to be reactivated, restored. Natural love, between man and woman, not going around trying to beat each other down, and all these women trying to be empowered and have these positions and take it and tell all the come out with these allegations on men without any proof. We have got to get back to that place. And I know they're trying to move to a capitalist society, and take Christianity, the purpose of Christianity out of it, and what God had, the purpose of what He has. But that's not going to happen, because God is still on the throne. We serve a living God. And we have to put God first in all things. All this other stuff is extra. Whatever we live and do and work for, houses, cars, material things. Yes, God knows we need money. But we have got to put God first in all things. Put God first. And again, I appreciate all of my new subscribers to the channel. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. Like the video, share the video. And again, don't forget the Bible study that's coming up October 24th. you know, healing the soul of a woman. We appreciate you. We invite you to join in, to have good discussions, to not judge, you know. And if you want to share, you only share what you feel comfortable with. I would never want you to expose yourself or compromise your own privacy. You know, if you need real therapy, you know, as far as that, please go get your therapy from a licensed counselor. You know, I would love for you to do that, you know, for a licensed counselor, you know, a licensed therapist, not, you know, because there's a lot of people out here saying that they are licensed and they want people to think of them and elevate them. But if they're not licensed, you know, people that are just writing these books and trying to give you some information, but they have no idea, you know, no credentials, always, you know, don't just be so easily persuaded, and don't become the trick. Don't be that trick that they hoping to trick. And I'll say that again. Don't be the trick that someone is hoping to trick. Don't allow that. You know, be thinkful, not think less. And because I see that a lot where people, they just don't seem to think for themselves, and they just let people push them along and all of that. No, you have to think for yourselves, and to use your brain, common sense, and, you know, read for yourself. Don't just go on the media. Just don't go on somebody else's word like that, you know, and always know your audience, who you're speaking to, and know who you're hanging out with and supping with and fellowshipping with. And if you can trust a person to give you good advice, because see, a real person, a real friend, a person that cares about you, they're not going to want to see you hurt yourself. Now, if you with somebody that just, there are people that don't care, those are not your real friends. Real friends are someone that want to see you do better. And with that being said, it comes with accountability, responsibility, discernment, and the choices that you make. And ask God to help you, give you some discernment, you know, discernment about who you're going to get involved with. And don't go out with people you don't know. You know, that's another thing. And if you're at parties, protect yourself. Know your audience and who's going to be at these parties, or some of the people there. And don't go alone. And make better choices so that you don't feel like you need to have an organization 30, 40 years later, 50 years later, telling you you should have went to the authority. They helped you. And no, make better choices today. God bless you all. Have a good day.